Well, me being a klutz is nothing
And everyone saw that. So I was just, basically that's your hands going up. Yeah. It's normal.
It's Thursday,
Yeah.
It's Thursday. We got football tonight. Actually, what are we on? Day 7 of 27 consecutive days with football being played?
Are you watching Maction? Because I think there's been basketball on.
I didn't watch it last night. There was a lot of action available last night, but I did not watch it because I had the World Series game on one TV, especially as Houston got to the 5th and 6th innings of a combined no-hitter, the second World Series no-hitter of all time. Philly goes from one night hitting 5 dingers for 7 runs, none of which came in from scoring position.
All right, I'm trying to recall. Didn't one team or the other tipped pitches or something like that?
That is the conversation. Lance McCullers Jr. was on the hill in Game 3.
So would this be a cause of it? Because I can't remember which team it was. The fact that they can't hit now.
It was Philly. And so, not to go terribly deep into it, because we should have done that yesterday. But Lance McCullers Jr., the thought is he was tipping his pitches because he got hit hard early. And then after Bryce Harper took him, he called Alec Boehm over. He was like, come here. Like before he was in the on deck circle, he was like, come here. And he walked over there and he pulled him in real close to whisper something to him. And they caught it on camera. It was like, dude, what's he telling him? And then Boehm goes up there and on the very first pitch he sees, he hits it about 800 feet. I mean, just smoked the baseball. Then later on, it was Schwarber and Harper. They went back-to-back jacks. And that was about the time that the Astros were like, Dad, we're just going to let him finish. We're getting smoked. Just give him one more inning. Let's not waste our relief pitchers here. And all but rolled over in that one. Then last night, the same Phillies team that hit 5 home runs in Game 3 got no hit in Game 4.
Isn't that kind of odd? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it certainly added to the belief that McCullers was tipping his pitches. Obviously, because it's Houston, there was a lot of discussion in that game, a lot of questions about, are the Astros cheating? Are the Astros doing something? But they had Pedro Martinez come on after the show, and he did a whole breakdown of how he thought McCullers was tipping his pitches about, if it's a slider, he was raising his glove up over his head to throw it. If it is a fastball, the leg kick is a little bit lower than on a breaking ball. He was pointing out, and I thought doing a good job of it, but he was pointing out all the different things that Lance McCullers was doing based on what pitch he was about to throw, and basically came up with a theory that the Phillies jumped all over that. All right, if the glove goes up directly over his head, it's a breaking ball. If the leg kick is a little lower than the breaking ball, he's probably coming inside fastball. They figured out what was going on.
So what's wrong with
smacked the hell out of
what's wrong with that? I mean, that's more on the pitcher than it is on them.
Yeah, nobody's mad at Houston for that.
Because I know they were making a big deal about that, but it's more on the pitcher, not it's like playing poker. I mean,
that's exactly right.
Yeah,
it's a tell.
Yeah,
it's a tell. Nobody was upset about the Astros, nobody was upset with the Phillies doing that, right? Like nobody was mad about it because it's not cheating. It's kind of like in football, right? Like if you're a defensive lineman in football, you get taught earlier in your career, but when you come up to the line, before you get down in your stance, as the offensive line gets set, Lonzo, you look at their hands, right? Because if they've got all their weight down on their hand when they're in that 3-point stance, that likely means that they're firing off the line and it's a run. But if you look at their hand and they've just got the hand touching, just touching the grass, that means that they've got their weight back, which means they're probably about to sit back in pass protection. And you can sometimes get tipped as to what type of play is coming at you. And then you can get a read based on, how they set up. If you got a bunch of guys that drop back into pass pro, but the left guard is not looking at his assignment, then you got a pretty good indication that that's going to be a screen, right? Because the guard is looking at where he's going to go, as opposed to, this is my blocking role on this particular play. There's nothing wrong with that. If the pitcher's telling you if it's breaking ball or fastball coming up next, you sit on that pitch and you try to hit it to the ISS. It's real simple. And it's just good baseball out of Philadelphia in game number 3. Then last night, the Astros put together the combined no-hitter. Just the second time in World Series history that a team has gone no-no on the biggest stage of them all. And we got a tied World Series at 2 games apiece, which is, exactly what we want, right? Like, give me the best World Series possible. I don't like, as a fan, either of these teams, right? I don't like Houston. I don't like Philly. It is the first World Series in my memory that I'm pulling for a tie and nobody wins the championship, right? But if I can't enjoy it because I like or prefer one of the two teams over the other, if I can't enjoy it as a fan, I just hope we get good baseball. We got an incredible offensive showing out of Philly in game 3. We got an exceptional pitching and defensive showing out of the Astros in game 4. We're all squared up at a deuce apiece, working our way to game 5. And, it's good. It's good. Like I said, I hate it that it's these two teams I very much do not want to see win a World Series. As a fan, as a baseball guy, it's given me everything that I want. It's given me everything I want. I hope it goes to game 7. I really do. Game 5 is tonight. This one is in Philly, as we are in a 2-3-2 format for the World Series. So tonight's game will be at Philly. And then game 6, Saturday in H-Town. Game 7, if necessary, will go 8:03 p.m. on Sunday. And man, I hope it's that. I hope we get a Sunday game 7.
Because it's going to...
Because game 7's the best thing in sports.
Yeah, but it's going to get destroyed by football.
Maybe.
Do you know who's playing?
Now, what's our Sunday night game?
It's Kansas City.
Does Kansas? I know this. Like, I don't want this to sound like I'm.
It's all right.
Being a jerk.
You're not going to hurt me there.
Is Kansas City going? If it was Kansas City Buffalo, yes. But is Tennessee at Kansas City going to get more love than World Series game 7? If it was like game 4, I'd absolutely agree with you. But if it would an NFL game between an AFC favorite and a Tennessee team that has been disappointing, is that going to beat a World Series game 7? Genuine question.
And again, this coming from me, I'm not a baseball guy. So to me, football is going to win out. And I don't think they want to, I don't think they want to match up against football. I really don't. At least you got one marquee team playing. If it was like Jacksonville versus Detroit, no, it's not going to win, but you got Kansas City playing. If it was Buffalo playing, same there. If it was Philadelphia playing, if it was one of the top 4 or 5 teams, no matter who they're playing, I think they beat that baseball game. But we'll find out. Or will we? Because it has to go to 7, right? It can be done in less than 7. It's tied, right?
It is tied at 2. We can end it in 6.
Yeah. So
if either team wins back-to-back, it's over in 6. But they've alternated games so far. I'm not saying that we will alternate tonight and Philly gets the win because Justin Verlander is on the bump tonight for Houston, and he's been exceptional.
I'm curious about something, and I don't know if this matters or not. Does Vegas like it when there are multiple things on in one night? Is it worse for them because attentions are divided, or is it better to have one thing on that night?
That's a good question. I don't know the definite answer to. My suspicion, with no foundation behind it, my suspicion is it doesn't matter. Because if you're the type of cat that's going to wager, you're going to wager regardless of what's on TV, right? Like if I'm going to pull up my betting app of choice and drop a few dimes down on a game, it doesn't matter what game is on. I'm going to make a pull. In fact, I'm even going to say it's probably better it's probably better with multiple games on because you've got more opportunities for players to put some coin down, right? Let me look up the line of this Kansas City, Tennessee game. It is right now. Let's see. Kansas City is -12. So you guys are expected to win by a dozen. As an NFL bettor, I don't really touch double-digit games on the money line. Scratch that, on the spread. I might take it on the money line, but at -550, there's not a lot of money there for me to be made unless I'm going big-time pay-in, and I don't do that. I bet little. I'm a little fish. I'm a little minnow in the Vegas pond. That game, on the other hand, between Houston and Pittsburgh and Philly, if it gets to a game 7, is going to be a game that is like even money on the money line and probably plus 250 on the run line if you go either team. That means if you take the money line, it means the team wins outright. If you take the run line, ordinarily it means that you predict the team is going to win by 2. And then you can obviously increase your odds by predicting that they win by more. A World Series Game 7 is going to be even money, pick a winner on the money line, and probably plus 225, plus 250 on the run line. So I'm probably more likely to gamble on the baseball game because there's not a lot of value in gambling on the football game. And obviously, whatever game I have money on is the game I'm going to watch. So I don't know if it helps or hurts Vegas. The NFL at the end of the day is the NFL. They're going to have their viewership. You know that. Sunday Night Football is going to have its viewership. I'm curious as to, and I put this question up on the thread. I'm actually going to delete that poll because I asked what gets better ratings, and that's not the right way to phrase that question. Question's going to be, does a World Series Game 7 have less as good or better numbers than it did last year if it's going up 1v1? Remember, though, Game 7 was supposed to be Saturday night. But because of rain before Game 3 in Philly, the whole World Series schedule got pushed back a day. So now, because they did not want to give an extra rest day before a Game 7, baseball just pushed everything back a single day, and now Game 7 is Sunday night up against NFL Sunday Night Football. And I'm curious how many people would ditch Sunday Night Football to watch baseball. Not me, because I got like 19 TVs in the house. I'm watching both and probably some amateur boxing somewhere. But I'm wondering how baseball will do up against the NFL. That's a good question.
Yeah, and I'm not the guy to ask because I'm not a baseball guy. So I'm gonna and I do understand the excitement of a Game 7 in any sport. I do, but but also my team's playing Sunday night. So I have bias against it, but I am curious across the Armada. What are you guys watching?
So if the World Series goes to Game 7, I will say this. It does have one advantage, Lonzo. It starts at 8:03. Sunday Night Football kicks off at 8:20. So they've got a 17-minute window in which to start a fantastic baseball game that keeps people's attention, right? If Philly comes out and dimes 4 or 5 dingers out of the gate, and that game's, not exciting out of the gate, you're going to lose some people. You're going to bleed some people over. But, if it's a really good game up front and you've got to pick, are you going World Series Game 7 or NFL Sunday Night Football Titans at Chiefs? All right, coming up on the show today, a lot of stuff we need to get into. Rashad Beard is going to join us here on the radio broadcast coming up in about 20 minutes to talk Carolina football. Looking forward to that. Coming up later on in the show, the Washington Commanders, Yesterday, it got reported that Dan Snyder had contacted Bank of America Securities to begin some lines of questioning about selling the team, ? Hilariously, within hours after that, a memo got leaked that said the federal government is investigating the finances of the Washington Commanders. Now we know why Dan Snyder is selling out. Now we know why he's bailing. Because the feds are knocking on the door. That's not a good look. We'll talk about that. Bubba Watson has spoken out against people who have spoken out against the Live Tour, and in doing so showed us that he has missed the point entirely. That's too bad. I like Bubba. Bubba's from Baghdad, Florida. It's right up the road from Pensacola. He's from my neck of the woods. I like Bubba. But Bubba missed the point entirely. And I'll talk about that coming up. DJ Uiagalelei has spoken out about what went wrong for the Clemson Tigers against the Syracuse Orange as the purple and orange head up to South Bend, Indiana to take on Notre Dame this Saturday.
He didn't Spencer Rattler it, did he?
He did not Spencer Rattler it.
Okay, that's good.
He did not blame the coaches. So we'll talk about that coming up very shortly as well. A lot of stuff to get to. Busy day on the broadcast today. I am Rob Brown. He is the great one, Lonzo. And you are you listening to The Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. And Brian Burns is trending again.
Yes, I saw that. But it's about the money that Bradley Chubb
Brian
just
Burns
got
is about to
paid.
get an extension.
Yeah.
Bradley Chubb, 5-year, $119 million extension, 63.2 guaranteed. Wow. Yeah, Brian Burns is going to be a very rich man soon.
He should be.
Very rich man. Inventory market. Homes in good condition attract multiple buyers, and with multiple buyers comes multiple offers. Sometimes
Yeah, Stephen, to answer your question, that's a little convoluted. Rob will have to answer that. And Luke, I agree with you. Until the last couple of years in the upstate, they've canceled some football games because of rain. Their reasoning was because of the gate, that they wouldn't make as much money because not as many people would come. And I never entirely believe that would be the case because people who love a sport are going to show up whether it rains or not. Of course, we're going to get those texts. How can you be on a sports show and not like baseball? I don't have to like every sport. I don't know. Can you make fake dirt? Well, yeah, I guess you can. Although I think when movies use dirt, they actually bring in real dirt. I don't know. We have some actors in the building. Maybe I'll ask them. No, he just hasn't gotten to the comments yet. He's busy. He's doing what he couldn't have done if he would have drawn something or wouldn't have done, and that's to actually leave the room. And by the way, I don't know. Can you actually see the floor? You can't see the floor. I'm looking on the stream.
Oh, you guys?
Yeah, on the stream. You can't see the floor because this is our last day without carpet. And what a mistake that's going to be, but that's fine. Just because
it better get vacuumed.
Yeah, well. Hey, listen. Wait. I just wanted to hear the new spot. I like it. Yeah. I apologize for interrupting you.
Steven, to answer your question, I drew no carbonated beverages for a week.
Eventually he drew that.
Which I am going to start tomorrow as the show starts. So the clock will go. It was no carbonated beverages for a week, but as a number of you guys complained that was too weak of a punishment, I have decided to self-immolate a little bit here, and I will be doing it for 2 weeks. No carbonated beverages for 2 weeks, which does not sound like much, except for almost everything I drink, up to and including the water that I drink, is carbonated. The cocktails that I like are carbonated.
See,
beer is carbonated.
There's one problem with it. It's not a visual or an audio. Right. So even though you may be in pain, the audience doesn't get to really enjoy it. Like if you have to sing a stupid REO Speedwagon song or wear orange. This is a work in progress. Next year, we'll probably tweak it. I'm just guessing. I don't know. I really don't.
Next year, on-air punishments only?
Well, I mean visual or audio punishments. It's just, yeah.
All right, because Steven asked in the chat what the ultimate, for those of you who missed yesterday, after doing some casual reading, I came across some doctor's advice that eating an entire, this is shocking. I know it's going to shock some of you guys like it shocked me. Apparently, eating an entire jar of mayo can be massively dangerous to your health. Up to and including doing the big die. And this may shock some of you as well. I prefer being described as the condition of alive. I prefer the alive condition to the opposite. So after reading a comment from a doctor who was like, yeah, don't do this, it can quite literally kill you, we decided to give Lonzo the option with the input of the Rob Brown Armada. We decided to give Lonzo the option of either allowing me to draw a new punishment or allow Lonzo to assign me the punishment of his choice instead of eating a jar of mayo and risking the aliving that I am currently doing. Lonzo then played a beautiful game of 4D chess. Lonzo set me up. What Lonzo did, for those of you that missed the broadcast yesterday, was to say he understood on a cellular level how horrendous I thought the punishment that he would have picked would have been. Unfortunately, because I had already made plans on Saturday once Mad World became not a punishment. I have obligations Friday and Saturday night, took Mad World out of the equation, or else I'm sure he would have picked that. The other one that I dread with every fiber of my being was a Lonzo created punishment of go barefoot, no shoes allowed for the duration of a show, which would have effectively locked me into this chair for 3 hours.
It's so weird, man. It is so weird. That's a phobia that you might need some counseling on. It's just
maybe
it's just feet on the floor. It's just, I mean,
yeah,
anyway.
where everybody else's feet are. I don't need to go into the whole thing again. All right, I don't need to go into the whole thing again. It's gross to think about. So, knowing that, Lonzo then said, I know how much you dread that, so I will leave that up to luck of the draw, and handed me the boo box to pick another suggestion, to pick another punishment. In picking another punishment, I initially drew eat a spoonful of Vegemite. However, Lonzo said, you've already done it. We've already seen it. You're mentally prepared for that. Draw again. So I did, and I drew no carbonated beverages for a week, which I very much acknowledge on its surface doesn't seem all that bad, right? It really doesn't seem all that bad, except for pretty much everything I drink is carbonated, down to the bottles of water that I drink during the show. I drink a carbonated water that is flavored. Today's flavor is mandarin orange, for those of you who are curious. The water I drink is carbonated. The cocktails that I order when I'm out and about is usually like a Crown and Sprite, a Seagram's and 7, a Jack and Diet. They're all soda-based, right? Soda's the mixer of choice. Beer is carbonated. I am and on top of all of that, as I am in a race to drop 20 pounds against the lady friend, I'm pretty much locked myself into just regular old plain tap water, which I'm unfortunately not a big fan of. Because of how many people said that was a weak punishment when I drew it yesterday, Zoe included, which, by the way, you guys suggested that was a listener-inspired punishment. Because of how many of you guys said that was a weak punishment when it was all said and done, I have decided to make it worse on myself. I will go starting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with no carbonated beverages for 2 weeks. No energy drinks, no beers, no sodas, no carbonated waters. All the things that I drink regularly, no carbonated drinks for 2 weeks from tomorrow at 9 a.m. until Friday, November, 17th. No carbonated drinks for 2 weeks.
You missed the best part of the whole thing, though.
I was getting there.
Okay, all right.
In allowing me to take that punishment, Lonzo then said, I just hope that down the line, my kindness and generosity and compassion and not making you do the barefoot bet might be rewarded in some way, shape, or form. And then finagled me into removing wear a Michigan shirt out of his box entirely. Now, I would like to point out that in recognition when we went off the air, that I did not remove barefoot for 3 hours on the show from my box. I just didn't accept it as the consequence for the lost week last week. Lonzo talked me into taking wear a Michigan shirt out of the box entirely, which was the one punishment he was least looking forward to that remains. There was a part of me that accepted that because I know the marital strife it would inflict upon the Reitzel household.
Oh, no. You think you know, but you don't know. As I was told, you find a way to get that out of there. In which I said, I will. And I did.
I will say then, I understand that there would be immense marital strife.
If you even say the word
the
Michigan in our household, she gets angry. So, no.
So Lonzo trick walked me into allowing him to take the best punishment remaining out of his boo box by not assigning the worst punishment to me out of mine.
I just think that's the art of negotiation. That's what I think. You know, you find something that's and I had that power and I used the power to help us all or to help you and I. I still think your punishment's weak, but you know.
Luke said the only thing about this punishment is it's on an honor system. And it is. But
see, the only thing I worry about that is someone I know sometimes forgets. And muscle memory might make you go to grab something. And I'm not saying you're doing it on purpose. I'm just saying you might accidentally fail because you weren't thinking.
So here's what I'll say to that. It is on an honor system. I am agreeing with that. It is on an honor system. There are two things at play here. Number one, I live with a woman who loves me, but also enjoys seeing me suffer, right? Because that's a good, healthy adult relationship. I once find a great marriage is being willing to die for someone that you yourself sometimes want to kill, right? She enjoys watching me suffer. And so this is not going to be something that I can sneak a brewski at the house on Saturday because nobody's going to see me. She 100% will turn me in. And number two, and I'm not saying this to
she'll take a picture and send it to
100%.
So
she will text Lonzo.
Yeah. So I'm not worried about that part.
Right.
I do like what Luke says though. If you get caught by a listener, you have to do 2 punishments.
And here's what I was going to say. There are, and this is going to sound big-headed, though it's not meant to be. There are very few places that I can go around Greenville where there's not at least somebody who knows who I am. All right? I know that sounds like I got a massive ego. I get
kind of a big deal.
I know. I know it makes me sound like an absolute Delta Bravo. I
you
get it.
never have to say, do you know who I am, when everyone already does.
No, I'm not saying
Way
everyone
to go,
does.
Rob.
I'm saying inevitably, if I go out, I will almost inevitably bump into someone who knows who I am, right? And again, you can ask the lady friend, rarely does a date night go by. We went to a winery like 3 weeks ago out in the sticks, and somebody knew who I was there. That was the night, or that was the day that dude walks up to me and just flipped me off to my face because he heard our conversation about the proper way to flip the bird, right? It is rare I can go somewhere where somebody doesn't walk up and go, "Are you Rob?" And I think that's great. By the way, if you see me, please come up and say hello. And this texter nailed where I was going.
I just want to say, if you're really famous, do they have to ask you, are you? They know you are.
Oh, I'm not famous.
Okay,
I'm not even kind of famous.
You know.
I'm not even, I just have a very...
I get the, hey, Lonzo, not are you, Lonzo.
Oh, no,
so,
no.
I mean, you'll get there someday, kid.
One day I'll be you.
Yeah.
I have a very distinct voice. I get picked out. All right. Here's what I'll say.
It's because he's loud.
Correct. Here's what I'll say. Over the next 2 weeks, starting tomorrow at 9 a.m., If I get turned in, if I break, if I forget, if I cheat, if I have a carbonated beverage in the next 2 weeks, from tomorrow the 4th all the way up to whatever the Friday 2 weeks later is, if I have a carbonated beverage in that spot, I will do the barefoot challenge as a punishment for breaking it. So that y'all know. So that when you're out, if you see me out and about over the next 2 weeks, because I go out and do stuff, if you see me out and about and I have a carbonated beverage and I get caught cheating or because I'm forgetful, I will take the barefoot deal as a punishment for breaking the punishment.
So I know we need to go to break, but if you see Rob out and about, just pull your pants up just a little bit, pull down your sock, point at your ankle, and do the old eye thing at Rob so he knows.
I don't want to see your feet, you bunch of freaking weirdos. All right? I don't.
You almost made me push the button.
No, I don't do that. You know that. I'm better than that. I'm good at this. I was going to call them something much worse than that. All right? That's it. All right.
Any idea? Does anyone know? Someone text me during the break how much a private investigator costs. I'm just curious for no reason.
Have that. You boy, listen. I'm on the honor code. You've got a built-in spy that lives with me, and it's rare that I'm going to go somewhere and somebody's not going to say, "Are you Rob?" If I get caught, I will do the barefoot show thing as a punishment. All right? I'm taking it seriously. Let's take a break. When we come back, my guy, Rashad Beard. Steven says, I got a $100 bill for the first person to get Rob to drink a beer. That's good, Steven. Do I get $100 if I don't? Rashad Beard.
No, but we all get to see your feet if you do.
On the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Yeah, that's frowned upon in the radio world, Luke.
Hiring a PA to track the host.
No, he's like a free mention, a shout out for
yeah.
You can't do that.
Will you throw Rashad in queue real quick if you don't mind? He is. Oh, he is. Shad, what's up, big dog?
What's up, Deontay? Good.
Let's turn it all the way the other direction. Rashad, how do you like your studio? Do you like it cool or do you like it hot in there?
Cool. I can't do hot. We
got a guy who keeps turning the heat up in here. I just don't.
Which I don't understand.
I don't either.
Throw a hoodie on or something, man. You can control your body temperature. Put some clothes on, man.
Yeah, he just like every day we come up and it's half heat. It is 50 degrees outside, man. Stand by the window. Stop.
I know how I can stop it. I will eat some chocolate and then turn the dial, and he won't be able to touch it till someone comes and cleans it. I'll take advantage of his germophobia.
Is he a germaphobe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I would never purposefully deface company property. I just want to make sure I put that out there. Where did you get your case from? Did you have that made or did you find that? Your stand?
The glass one? That's from IKEA. That's from IKEA.
Is it?
Yeah, pretty cheap too.
Never. So you ordered it from IKEA or you went and?
I went and picked it up. I'm like right up the street. Not too far from it.
I have never been in an IKEA.
Me either. And I kind of want to go, but I'm afraid I might spend money. So
yeah, you'll need to put some make it a trip, make it a day. You need to plan it out because it's rather large.
It is that big. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there one around here? I don't know.
I think there's one. There's one up there by y'all, isn't there?
Yeah, that's what I mean. We
big one.
Yeah.
So next time I go to Charlotte, that might be a move.
It's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. My desk is from IKEA. Got a pretty good.
Are they open on Sundays? Do you know?
Think so.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
My
Don't quote me on that, but I'm quite sure
my
they are.
sister-in-law,
Well, I could look into it.
the closest one to Fort Walton, where I'm from, is in Atlanta. And my sister-in-law has, on at least one occasion, driven to Atlanta to go to IKEA, which I
Yeah, it's real.
don't understand, but I've also never been to one.
Well, I mean, something like that, which is really cool that he's got back there. I don't want to order it online. I'd rather be able to go and check it out, in person, because you can test durability and all that kind of stuff. Of course, if I did, I wouldn't get the same one you have because you don't do that. I mean, someone else has
You can
got
get
it.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody
I-
has one of these, dude. It's not really.
Yeah, but you're the only one I've ever seen have one. So I don't want to be copying Rashad. That's all.
Luke asked Rashad if you had a team before you became a Panthers fan, or if you've been one since they rolled up in '95. Oh, we lost you.
Someone muted him, or he muted
Oh.
himself.
He pulled his mic out. All right, hang on a second.
Okay.
We'll get him back.
There we go. That was back. I can't hear you though. Can't hear you.
Still can't hear you.
Here we go. How about now?
You good?
Yeah, my bad. I hit the cord. But no, I've been a day one. My dad was a cow. My dad's a bandwagon guy, so he went whoever was winning. So I rep pretty much every team as a kid. But when I was old enough to kind of make my own decisions, it was Panthers, and I was about in high school, so wouldn't count it.
All right. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate every Thursday at this time. We kick it up to Charlotte, North Carolina, and welcome in one half of the dynamic duo that makes up the Panther Nation podcast, which you can find on social media at Panther Nation PC. But more importantly, make sure you subscribe, like, and download the Panther Nation podcast from their YouTube channel at Panther Nation Podcast. My guy, Rashad Beard, is in the house. What's up, big dog?
What's going on? All is well over here, man.
Love to hear it. Let's jump right in, Rashad. Heartbreaker, man. I mean, you had him, right? Like him, had not one but two different opportunities to put it away. You feel awful for Eddie Pinheiro, who has been good until he wasn't.
Keep your helmet on.
I feel worse for DJ Moore because I know that's going to be one that he remembers for the rest of his career. Division on the line and just could not finish the job. And it really wasn't like anybody got outplayed. It wasn't like they got beat, Rashad. It was just, a couple of little mental blunders at the end and a heartbreaking L.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm still encouraged after that loss. It was a tough loss. Nobody wants to go out like that. Regardless of what happened with DJ Moore, you got to make the kicks. You had an OT kick that was a chip shot. You got to make those kicks. You're paid to kick, and when you can't, all kickers are good until they're not. Once they get in their head, it's over. I mean, hopefully he bounces back because we're keeping him. So Pinheiro, hopefully he can get it back on the right track because at some point you're gonna rely on your kicker. You're gonna need your kicker to make the kick. So. Just going back to even with Joey Sly last year, a couple years ago, he was great until he wasn't, and then now he's struggling. So, it is what it is. I'm still fine. I think we played a great game. PJ Walker had a great game. There are some things to take away from the game that you're like, all right, we're looking good. And I really, honestly, I don't think too many teams want to play the Panthers right now, just because we're playing for we have nothing to lose at this point. You know what I'm saying? We're putting it all out there. And I like what I see. I'm still encouraged. And, even though we're 2-5, the division is still in play. Nobody's playing that great. The Falcons got it right now, but only a couple of games out, and we can bounce back.
So this is interesting. I was cruising the Panthers subreddit right after that game went over, and they were like two different mentalities from Panthers fans.
Yeah.
One was, hey, listen, we know we're still not good, right? We're not amongst the upper echelon of the NFL, but the division is in play. And this is the most optimistic I've felt about this team in a long time. You go from moving Robbie Anderson, moving Christian freaking McCaffrey, and then 2 weeks later, Panthers fans are saying, this is the most optimistic I've been about the direction of this franchise in a long time. And then there's the other side, which was tank mode engage, right? Like, let's go back to it. We're a game and a half back of Atlanta. We get another crack at them in a week and a half when they come next Thursday to the bank. And Shot, I might be texting you because I might be heading up for that one. I want to see those black unis in person. But which of, if not both or neither of those two positions do you find yourself in after the L2 Atlanta?
Yeah, I'm never gonna tank. Listen, I'm never a fan of that tank stuff. It never works. You can play for the top quarterback, but the top quarterbacks typically never pan out. The guys that are the greats, if you look at Mahomes, you look at Justin Herbert, you look at all the guys that are playing good football, they were picked in like pick 15, pick 10, pick 32 at the end of the first round, third round, sixth round. So playing for the bottom to tank for a good quarterback, it almost never works out. Obviously, there's an exception to every rule, but it almost never works out. Look at Trevor Lawrence, a guy that was pretty much untouchable, right? He was the greatest generational talent of all time. Look at him. He's struggling. Picked number 1 overall. It never works out. So I'm never a fan, or never going to be a fan of the tank. It never works out. So I'm encouraged, like I said several times. I like where we are as getting rid of Christian McCaffrey, and now Robbie Anderson, getting him out of here as well, and starting to see this offense flourish. We're starting to see guys like Terrace Marshall come to life. He had his best game as a Panther. PJ Walker is looking great. And DJ Moore, actually is getting 10 plus targets like a number 1 wide receiver should. So I like those things alone, have me excited about the Panthers offense. And then the defense, we struggled a little bit in the secondary. CJ Henderson gave up the big play to Damiere Byrd, but then, made it up with the interception. But the defense, I'm encouraged about. They're young guys, and Jeremy Chinn's going to be coming back. So I think if you really look at the roster and where we're going, there's a lot to be excited about. So I'm never going to be the guy that's going to say tank. I'm encouraged by where we are right now.
Here's the stance I took. I've been saying a lot this season that 2023 is going to be a put the polish on the new car and get her ready for the 2024 season where we break out. I don't know if I feel that way. I think 2023 could be a year. You're looking at a Buccaneers team that's going to break up, because even if Brady wants to stay another year, they're just not the same right now. The Saints went out and blanked the Raiders 24-0, and they look good, but also that's a 2-win Raider team. It's not like they, beat Buffalo 24-0. And again, that's an aging team as well. A lot of question marks for New Orleans, and Atlanta's, they're Atlanta until they're not Atlanta, and I'll believe it when I see it. We talked a lot about foundation. We talked a lot about building. It just feels to me like next year, could be a real step forward if, and you and I both said this, we find that HC-QB combination that we're looking for. You step on that, and the Panthers are a divisional contender next year.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on. I mean, nobody in the South has the young core that we have, especially on the defensive side with Burns and JC and Jeremy Chinn, like in Luvu now. I mean, these guys, and Derek Brown I can't forget about Derek Brown, because he's probably the best player on the defense right now. But nobody has that core that we have in the NFC South. And then you look on the offensive side of the ball, the offensive line is still playing extremely well. And so now it's starting to take shape. We just need, and again, I'm not going to sit up here and say, quarterback is the reason we're losing right now. That's not the reason why we're losing. PJ Walker is not the reason why we lost on Sunday. Be clear on that. So like we are in a good situation where if Wilkes hopefully can get this thing turned around in a couple of wins, we don't have to take those drastic moves. They get a new head coach and all that. Maybe we do still draft a quarterback and keep PJ as the bridge, which is what we should have done when we had Teddy Bridgewater. So I think hopefully if they play it right, I think you're right. I think next year could be the year where we actually take that step. But there's a lot of work to be done. I think, we need to see how it plays out the rest of the year. If we can get some good wins and we don't have to make the playoffs. If we can just get some encouragement that we're moving in the right direction from a personnel standpoint and a coaching standpoint, I think we're going to be fine. We're going to be tough. We're already a tough out right now. But just imagine next year, if we can get the coach right, we'll be even better.
Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joins us every Thursday here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, let's take a look ahead a little bit towards Cincinnati this Sunday. Interesting football team because they went to New Orleans. They squeaked out a dub down there, and it looked like they kind of found themselves in the right direction. But then they lose Ja'Marr Chase. He is, at this point, I think it's fair to say he is the cornerstone of that offense. That's not Joey B. And then they turn around and get absolutely smoked by Cleveland last weekend. If the Carolina team that beat Tampa shows up, it is going to be loud. It's a tough place to play in Cleveland, but I think there's some good matchups there, right? Like Cincinnati's offensive line has gotten much better. It's still not amongst the best. Joey B is not as mobile as he may have been before the injury, and he's kind of building back from that. They don't have Ja'Marr Chase. I got to tell you, Carolina and the points looks like a really interesting play to me this weekend.
Yeah, we've been, I don't know why we're still getting discounted. Like nobody really knows that we're real. So and there's no belief in the Carolina Panthers. I think it's a good matchup. I think, with the injuries that they have, especially on the defense side of the ball too, they got a couple of injuries. And with Ja'Marr Chase out and the way they looked this past week, it wasn't very good. I think this is a winnable game for the Carolina Panthers, and we can finally show Cincinnati that we're the real QC. Okay, so they got to stop talking about they're the Queen City because we're the real Queen City. We were here first. But anyway, so we got to go up there, and I think it's a winnable game. I most certainly think it's a winnable game. Can PJ Walker sustain the level of football that he's playing is really good. Like I said earlier, he's not the reason we're losing. And that's always a good thing when your quarterback is not the reason you're getting taken out of games. So I think PJ Walker can go out there, and again, D'Onta Foreman's having a really good season now that it's been turned over to him, and I think we can do good things against the Bengals. I think it's a winnable game for us, and I'm hopeful that we can go out there and get a W, and then everybody else in the NFC South lose, and then we're right back where we were last week, where the division will be on the line. Hopefully that happens.
All right, last one, 30 seconds or quicker, because I know it's a tough one to put at the end of the interview, but I'll do it anyway. Steve Wilkes says PJ starts this Sunday against Cincinnati, but would not commit to him as the permanent starter for the remainder of the season. Says that at the same time that Darnold's back at practice, Baker's back at practice. 30 seconds, what's the QB scenario look like for the next 3 to 4 weeks?
Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do until PJ Walker gives you a reason not to play him. You got to keep him. He's got the hot hand right now. And those guys, I think Sam Darnold playing behind this offensive line could be a little bit better. But at this point, PJ's the guy until he gives you a reason not to be the guy. You keep him out there. Stay with the hot hand. I'm with it.
That's it. He nailed it. Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast. You can find their stuff on YouTube. Search and subscribe to the Panther Nation podcast. Find them on Twitter at Panther Nation PC. Rashad, thanks, big fella. We'll talk to you next Thursday on game day, buddy.
Yep. I'll be out there. Blackout.
I like it. I may be calling you. I may write up to the QC for that. We'll talk to Rashad next week. We'll talk to the rest of y'all in 6 minutes when we come back for hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Thank you, big dog. Appreciate you. Yep. See you, buddy.
Sound like someone's dying in there. No, I mean, I'm just having trouble moving around. Hoops night.
KNIGHT, because they're the Paladins. Get it?
I get it. I did until you told me. I get it now. Is there anything else in there?
PF Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world. Turning to the best in the business for websites.
Is that the ball?
AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1. Our lineup of playmakers.
The DA Show, mornings at 6.
Oh, that's what it is.
The Jungle with Jim Rome, weekdays at noon.
And Offsides with Mark Ryan at 3.
Oh, well, can't fix it in time. Why would he do that? So play twice.
We really want y'all to come to.
No. This is what happens when two people are adding things to a rotator. It didn't need to be in both rotators, and I didn't see it. And I tried to fix it, but I went to the wrong rotator because it doesn't make sense for it to be in this one.
Our numero dos to the Rob Brown Show starts now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Fabulous to have you along with us today. Be a part of the radio broadcast by shooting us a text on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. You can also call into the show and go on the air with us. 844 fan phone, 844-326 3663. 844-326-3663 is that number. DJ Uiagalelei and his Clemson Tigers had a bit of a rough game last weekend when they hosted the Syracuse Orange. The victory goes in the record books. The memories of it will be forgotten by a lot of Clemson fans because it was, if I'm being honest, UGLY, you ain't got no alibi. It was ugly. Yeah, it was ugly. DJ Uiagalelei obviously got benched in that game in favor of young Cade Klubnik, who stepped in, threw just 4 passes in that game, was otherwise a handoff machine.
That boy can hand the ball off.
Handed it off like he's a Bama boy, I tell you what.
Telling you all along, Cade's man. He can hand the ball off and we'll win every single time.
Now, there was the conversation about DJ because in that game, DJ Uiagalelei got his hand stepped on. After the game was over, cameramen were able to pick up shots of DJ's hand, which showed that there was a pretty gnarly gash taken out of it. It was his throwing hand. And so there were some thoughts that perhaps it was the injury to DJ Uiagalelei's hand that caused the troubles, the struggles that he went through against the Cuse that led to his benching in favor of Cade Klubnik. I don't know if that's true or not. There's part of me that wants to believe it because DJ's throws up until that game had been relatively precise, relatively crisp, relatively good. And against Syracuse, they just were not. And I find it hard to believe that my dude had played half the season, throwing the ball just fine, and then came out the next game and just blew it, right? Like I cannot believe that was the case. I can't believe that happened. So there's a part of me that wants to give him that credit. But DJ went on to talk about it, and he said, quote, "The biggest thing was decision making. I feel like there were some decisions that I should have never made and put balls in jeopardy." I don't know, right? There's nothing that said that DJ in that spot would make those poor of decisions and throws consistently, right? There's nothing that says the switch got flipped preseason to take DJ closer towards the level that we all expected him to be at from the beginning. And then that switch just got thrown back down, right? So there's a part of me that just wants to chalk it up to everybody has a bad day, and the injury didn't help on top of that.
Yeah, but if it's not your guy from a fan perspective, this is not your guy, and you're clamoring for the other guy, the first thing you think is regression. Okay, he's going backwards. See, that's who he really is, not all that other stuff. This is the reason why the backup quarterback needs to play. Now, there are more games ahead of him. If he comes out this week and does the same thing, maybe he has regressed. But everyone has a bad day. Everyone, and if the hand is part of it, if you've ever had an injured hand, if you've ever been stepped on by a football player, it hurts.
Yep.
It absolutely hurts.
It hurts, and then it goes numb, right? Like it hurts, and then it goes numb. And if you rely on good touch of the ball in order to get the job done, and then your hand goes numb, it would make sense that DJ was missing throws that he has pretty much otherwise nailed.
It sounds like excuses are being made, but if your hand's hurt when the ball is hiked into your hand, it's going to hurt. When you're trying to grip it, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt when you throw it. It's just, and it's going to hurt constantly, but doing all those things are going to add pain on top of the pain that's already there.
I agree. It's, I want to chalk it up to he was having a bad day and then the hand got jacked up. I've had a broken hand. It sucks. It's hard to do anything. I've broken both hands. It sucks. You can't write. It's hard to hold stuff. Even after your hand is healed back up, it can take some time to get your grip back. You ever tried to throw a fully inflated college-sized football? Like, you got it or you don't. But you got to be those things are rock hard. Why do you think the whole thing about QBs deflating quarterbacks was so controversial in the NFL?
Deflating balls because of a QB's deflating a quarterback. I'm just helping you. That's what you just said. That's a totally different thing.
What did I say? Deflating balls? Did I say deflating a quarterback?
You said QBs deflating quarterbacks.
Oh, QBs deflating footballs was such a big story. Because when a ball is rock hard, as it's supposed to be, it's much harder to get a good grip and get a good throw on it.
It's also harder to catch.
Yeah. When there's a little give, for those of you not watching the stream, we've got a college-sized football here in the building. It is underinflated. It's much easier, right? It's much easier to not let go of this thing.
Could you please stop doing that?
It's fine. It's underinflated. I got it.
Yeah, I know, but still.
Fully inflated, that is a little bit tougher. So if DJ's hand was true and well jacked up, as it certainly looked like it was, then the bad throws become a little bit more understandable. It makes a little bit more sense. That being said, you kind of need your quarterback to understand that, right? You kind of need your quarterback to know that. You kind of need your quarterback to be in a headspace where he recognizes, I don't have the hand strength to make that deep throw down to the sideline that just got picked. We need to adjust for that. We need to change that up. And I don't think DJ was in that spot either. And it just ended up being a day to forget for DJ Uiagalelei. Texter said, to be completely fair, he looked like Boat before he hurt his hand. That definitely didn't help. Yeah, he didn't look good early. That's why I said I think that DJ was already having a bad day, and then the injury compounded it, right? The other interesting thing about this is that we haven't really heard DJ or Dabo or anybody else talking about that hand, right? We haven't really heard them talking about the hand. And, I think some people would say he doesn't want to make an excuse, right? But again, excuses versus reasons. Your hand being jacked up is a reason that you cannot hold control and throw a football as precisely as you ordinarily would. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. That something outside of your control created this issue that you were not in a position to deal with physically in that game, when especially you were already having a mentally very tough day. Very tough day. So now DJ goes back to the one spot. DJ heads to South Bend, Indiana. I know my states. South Bend, Indiana, to take on the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Check this out. Looking at the defensive standings for this year, these two teams defensively, Lonzo, almost mirror images of each other. Notre Dame is ranked 27th in total defense. Excuse me. Clemson ranked number 27th in total defense. Notre Dame, 28th. Through 8 games, Clemson has given up 542 plays. Notre Dame, 517. Clemson has surrendered 2,660 yards. Notre Dame, 2,676. Clemson is surrendering 4.91 yards per play. Notre Dame, 5.18. Clemson has allowed 18 touchdowns, Notre Dame 22. That is really the only big difference that you are going to find anywhere. Per game, Clemson giving up 332.5 yards per game, Notre Dame 334.5. You are playing your defense. A very similar style defense, a very similar defense in terms of results. I think that Clemson is better up front. I think Notre Dame's better in the back half, though. That's where this is going to get interesting. That being said, I don't want to see DJ reined in. I don't want to see the coaching staff go out and feel like they can't trust DJ Uiagalelei to rip the ball down the field against Notre Dame. I am saying, Lonzo, I want to see them run the hell out of the ball. I am saying I want both Shipley and Maffa to end up with about 20 carries apiece at the end of this thing. Run the ball 40 to 50 times and let DJ throw it maybe 18 to 20.
See, I'm trying to recall how quarterback switches happened in the past with Clemson, and I think it was a hook and they were done. The fact that he's back in there lets you know that chances are the hand had a lot to do with it. But if he gets pulled again, he's done probably. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't. They've won every game, and yeah, the last one was a little hairy. And they had to play really good defense, and things had to bounce their way in order for them to win that game. But I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't think so either. I mean, he's definitely.
And I think it was
start.
just a bad game.
It's like we said, and I pointed it out. I'm sure most of you guys saw that. Right after the game was over, when Dabo went to do his post-game interview, they went up to him, and before the interview really even started, Dabo was like, yo, DJ is still our guy. DJ is not going anywhere. DJ is still our guy. He's our starter. No questions asked. DJ is our leader. He's our team. He's our guy. Yada, yada, yada. And I don't have a reason to think that Dabo Swinney is going to walk that back for any reason, right? Like, I think DJ is the guy. I think DJ had a bad day. I think in the midst of DJ's bad day, DJ also got banged up, and that added to it. You had Cade Klubnik come in. Cade did a good job in reserve, but he was, as we have mentioned multiple times, a handoff machine and nothing else, right? The question mark is going to be, did DJ regress? And I don't think the answer is yes, right? Texas said DJ dropped a dime on the first drive that was dropped that should have been a touchdown. You are correct. He had some good throws in this game. Then the injury happened, and that kind of got away from him a little bit, right? There's no concern out of me. DJ Uiagalelei is fine. He had a bad day, and he got banged up. It happens to everybody. He's going to start. He's going to be fine, but I want Clemson to run the ball, like I said, legit 45 times in this game. I don't need flash. I need you to win, right? Clemson is number 4 in the college football playoff rankings. You are in. You are there. It is effectively your destiny. If Clemson was, Lonzo, 5, 6, they're likely still in, But I would want them to get some style points, right? Get a little insurance. You don't need style points. You're in. And you're likely not going to get dropped. Georgia or Tennessee are going to lose this weekend. You're going to bump up a spot. You could end this weekend as high as 3 in this poll. Just win the game. Don't get carried away. Don't get fancy. Don't go for style points. Notre Dame is not a good football team right now. Go win the freaking football game, right? Like, that's it. Don't get flashy. Don't get fancy. Don't test DJ. Don't put anything at him that he has not shown that he's immensely comfortable with so far this season. Just like teams have been able to score on Notre Dame, teams are able to score on Clemson. But Clemson's offense is much better than Notre Dame's. You don't need to be fancy. You don't need to be over the top. You don't need to go grab yards in chunks. Just go win the game. Run the ball. Utilize the exceptional talent you have at the running back position. Utilize the two-headed monster you have back there. Utilize the excellent reserve running back game you have. Run it down their throat and make them chase you. You do that, you're going to be number 3 at the end of this weekend, and you're going to be in really good shape. Like, really good shape.
But don't lose to Notre Dame or you're out.
But don't lose to Notre Dame or you're out. That's yes, that is correct. Clemson has, Lonzo, 0 wiggle room. A one-loss SEC team, assuming that TCU remains undefeated, a one-loss SEC team is going to have a hell of a time getting in. A one-loss Big Ten team will not get in. A one-loss ACC team, even if you're the ACC champions, you're going to have a hell of a time getting in. A one-loss ACC champ might go in behind a one-loss SEC runner-up. You cannot lose the game. Run it down their throat, make them quit, and move on. It's that simple. Take a break. Back after this, Rob Lonzo, you. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, stream. Stay right there. Be right back.
home may be your most valuable asset, but a foundation problem can seriously threaten that value. And if money is tight, you may consider putting off your repair. That's not a good idea. And it's why we offer
Actually, Luke, that's how the family pronounces the name. And a lot of is it Samoan names, I believe, have are pronounced with an N in it, even though they don't have them. I mean, look at Krzyzewski. That don't look like it should be pronounced the way it is. It's just, it is.
Yeah, the N sound is relatively common in Polynesian names.
Like Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, there's quite a few guys that you can point out that there's no N in there and anything.
All I can tell you is that media day, that's how I was told the correct pronunciation goes.
I almost called in this morning because of the problems I was having, but
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob. He is the great one, Lonzo. We appreciate you guys listening to the show. If you want to be a part of the broadcast, now is your opportunity. You can text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN. We'll read them on the air. You can also call in to the telephone line, the fan phone, at 844-326-3663, 844-326-3663. A couple more stories I wanted to get into. We talked a little bit about the DJ Uiagalelei situation. We have now heard from Marcus Satterfield, who got asked again yesterday about Jaheim Bell. This is one thing that I find very interesting regarding media covering teams. It is once a narrative sticks. Lonzo's complained about this before, and fairly so. Once a narrative sticks, that narrative becomes something that it's like every reporter feels the need to ask about, right? In this case, I think it's entirely fair. I think it is very fair to ask why you have a tight end on the bench that can be used as a tight end, can be split out as a wide receiver, can be utilized a million different ways. Why that tight end, who is projected to be as high as a first-round NFL draft pick, is on the field 16 plays in a loss, right? Shane got asked that question in the post-game presser after the L to Mizzou on Saturday. And his response was, well, you know, when you only run 53 plays, it's hard to get everybody on the field. It's like, dude, if you had a great game, you'd have had like 20 more snaps, right? Like 70 to 75. You had a great offensive game. You had a lot of possession. How many more snaps would Jaheim Bell have gotten if you had 20? Really, how many more snaps would Jaheim Bell have gotten if you had 15 to 20 more plays? 3? 4? I absolutely think it is fair to repeatedly ask the question, why is probably the only number one, or scratch that, the only first-round NFL draft pick on your roster on the bench more often than he's not? I think it's a very fair question to ask, and to ask repeatedly until we get an answer that is good, because the only one we've gotten, Lonzo, is, oh, well, it's a personnel thing.
You know, the thing that bothers me about this, and of course you're always on that side, and that's fine as a former media guy who is now a talk show host, it's different. Believe it or not, it's not the same thing. You only have so many questions, that you're going to get called on to ask of the coach. Only so many. And you've even complained about this. I can't remember. I think it was Nick Saban. Why would you ask this question? Well, you only have so many chances to ask a question. Why would you ask the same question everyone else is asking? Why would you do that? It's idiotic and it's stupid. You've wasted your time. You've wasted the coach's time. He didn't answer her. He didn't answer him. He's not going to answer you. Do you think that you're just so much high and mighty, or that you asked the question in such a way that the coach will be compelled to answer the question that he didn't answer the last 5 times he was asked the question? And I get you've decided, well, this person is not playing. Well, I think we all should gang up on the coach until he tells us why. He's not obligated to tell you why. It's a waste of breath. It's a waste of time. Find a better question. Ask about the people who are on the field. Why didn't they play well enough? Why didn't the coach well enough? Why did you lose? Because that player being on the field wouldn't have made a difference Saturday.
Hard disagree.
Would not have made a difference.
I was on board with everything you said until you tell
Wouldn't
me
have made a difference.
that a first-round NFL player.
You know why he would have made a difference. Here's how we know he wouldn't have made a difference, because he wasn't on the field.
No, I disagree.
If he was on the field, he would have made a difference. Everyone's trying to find everything that's wrong with South Carolina. They're right where they're supposed to be. I mean, we got excited after that win 2 weeks ago. Yeah, but they're right where they're supposed to be. This team is full of transfers and things like that. He's not going to turn it around in just 2 years. It's unless expectations are so much higher than mine, that one player is not going to make a difference. And you cannot convince me of that.
I may not be able to convince you that you're wrong, but you are. Let me say this. You know, you and I have made jokes before about doing the Fan Upstate Olympics, right? Where the 4 of us would go out and compete. If we all got a 100-meter dash added to the Fan Upstate Olympics, I expect to lose to Diesel, right? He's in shape. He's in good shape. If we run that race and we're running the 100-meter dash and I get to 80 meters and I'm 6 steps ahead of Diesel, you know what I don't do? I don't go, oh, well, this isn't where I'm supposed to be, and accept slowing up to be where I'm supposed to be, instead of going, damn, this is way ahead of where I should be. I should be working to stay at this level.
I don't like your analogy, because there's not one of us could run a 100-meter dash, and that includes Diesel.
Oh, it's an extreme hypothetical.
Diesel's old and married now.
Yeah.
He ain't running a 100-yard dash.
Extreme hypothetical, but a good one.
Oh, wait, so is Mark Ryan. So yeah. I mean,
I got Mark in a race. I'm not worried about that. I got Mark in a race. Diesel should get me. I feel like I'm coming in second.
I don't know. Mark's already got the pose down if he makes it across the finish line before everybody else.
So you're not gonna convince me, because your take on this doesn't work for me. You're not gonna convince me that not having a first-round NFL draft pick on the field doesn't change that game up. Of course it does.
What was the final score?
23-10.
So that guy is worth 2 touchdowns. If he was on the field, there would have been 2 touchdowns and they would have won the game.
No. You know what he is responsible for? Hey, it's 3rd and 4. What if we had a massive uber athletic target that could run a 4-yard in route across the middle of the field where Mizzou was bringing blitzes from?
That Spencer Rattler won't see.
That
Spencer Rattler won't see and won't throw the ball to, because Spencer Rattler's a problem.
Doesn't preclude you from giving him the opportunity, right? You don't make it harder on the QB to say it doesn't matter if you put him out there. Here's the thing. You don't know that if Jaheim Bell's not lined up, that Mizzou doesn't become less aggressive, because they recognize that guy is a super weapon, and we probably should not bring an extra linebacker and open up the middle of the field for him to curl up behind us and turn, what were they, 4 of 13 on third down in the first half. If you turn 3 of those into first downs because Jaheim Bell is that dude, how many of those drives now score? I'm not saying Bell scores 14, but I'm saying the offense has more opportunity.
Here's what I hope. I hope the next game they put him out there every single play, and you see that he would have made a difference, and you have to come in Monday and go, you know what? You're right. Him being out there doesn't mean anything. You know why? Because the defense knows that he's not going to get the ball, because Spencer Rattler's not going to throw it to him. And there also could be a thing where he has no chemistry with that particular quarterback. And if you don't have a chemistry with the quarterback, if the receiver doesn't have chemistry with the quarterback, they don't look your way. They just don't do that. So they don't throw, you're not going to get the ball anyway. So why not put a guy out there that maybe does have chemistry with the quarterback who he might look to throw the ball to?
Austin Stogner has been really good.
Yeah, it's
right?
his guy, his buddy
his
that he brought with. So yeah, he's going to throw the ball to him and only him and nobody else on the entire field.
Well, then sit his ass down, right? I mean, sit him. If Spencer Rattler is a 2-read guy, if it's Leggett, Stogner, then sit him down.
You know that's what it is.
And that's why I've said I think I might make the shift for Vandy back to Doty. However, Jaheim Bell on paper, you're right. I don't know that we've had enough Jaheim Bell time to know what that chemistry looks like.
But you know who does know that? All of the sports media. They all know that. They all know. They've all decided, we know that this is how it should be. Why isn't it the way we said it should be?
You've never called for a player personnel shift before? You've never in your life said, I think maybe we should go to this guy? You've literally done it with Luke Doty. Are you saying you know better than Shane Beamer?
If I were in the media pool and getting ready to ask a question, and we know this because when I ask people questions, it's something totally different than what everybody else asks. Sometimes it's pretty stupid, but it doesn't matter. It's different. I would make him think about his answer instead of having to give a standard answer when he's asked the same question over and over again, just differently. And it's not just with football, it's with baseball, it's everywhere. And all I want to know, and you can answer this, is this what you're taught in school? Hey, keep asking that same question. Keep asking that same question. Doesn't matter if the guy next to you or the girl on the other side asks a question. You keep asking that question because they're going to answer you because you're going to do it with confidence. Do they teach you that in school?
I like how boomer you just went on me. Is that what they teach you in school?
I can't go boomer because I'm a Gen Xer, but I mean, you can try that. So you still need to answer the question though. Do they teach you that in school?
You are taught to bulldog for an answer. Right?
In what
Yes.
in what way?
You are taught to bulldog for an answer.
In bulldogging, are you being repetitive?
Sometimes.
So they teach you to be repetitive.
Sometimes.
Because I want to know if that's
It
the
can
problem.
be.
If it's schooling is the problem.
You got kids, right? You got kids. Yeah, I know that you have kids. It's a setup for the next question. That was a dumb way to ask
Rob, I actually even have a grandchild.
I know that.
Doesn't make me a boomer though. I'm still a Gen X.
So I'll say it with a period on the end, not a question mark. You got kids. I ain't got kids, but I used to be one. Okay.
It was a long time ago.
Lonzo's kids are stellar kids. I've had the pleasure of meeting them both. I consider both of them friends. They're good people. Okay. But we're all kids and we all do dumb things. You catch your kid stealing the cookie from the cookie jar, right? And you ask the question. You go, did you steal the cookie from the cookie jar? And they go, no. And they got chocolate on their face, right? They got cookie crumbs on their hands that you can see. You can do a couple of things. You can go, all right, you didn't steal the cookie from the cookie jar. Why is there chocolate on your face? And make them answer a new question. Or you can ask them the same question again. You sure? You sure you didn't steal the cookie from the cookie jar? I want you to be totally honest with me because I might know the answer already. Why why are you telling me, did you steal a cookie from the cookie jar? Right? And you bulldog for an answer because what you're looking for is inconsistencies. You're looking for answers that don't mesh with each other. You're looking for timelines that are broken up. You're looking for anything that might clue you into the fact that there is some information on the table that is either being omitted, some information on the table that is being mislabeled, that is inaccurate, etc. You bulldog for answers because you are looking for inconsistencies in the responses that may lead you to go, okay, there's something deeper here. There's a different reason than what we're being told is the correct answer. It is certainly far more important to do this in, politics and local news than it is in a football team. But if I'm getting paid as a reporter to cover a football team, and I go ask a coach something, and somebody else ask him something, and somebody else ask him something, at some point, he might very well give you an answer that you go, wait a minute, coach. 2 days ago, you said X, and now you're saying Y. What happened? What's the difference there? And you may be able to stumble onto something.
So here's what I get from your analogy. In media
I
school,
stole a lot of cookies.
in media school, they teach you that you, as a reporter, are the adult, and the person that you are asking questions of is a child. You should treat them like a child and keep, asking them questions as if they were a child, because that will get you an answer. Also, you threw some CSI in there. I was like slicking underneath, but yeah, about timelines and everything.
Yeah.
Because when questioning my children, I don't think I ever went timeline.
I mean,
it's
good strategy. It's good strategy.
It would be, yeah.
So listen. I'm the adult near the child. No. That was just a metaphor to make it simple, to boil it down. What I'm saying is Shane Beamer and Marcus Satterfield may have just forgotten Jaheim Bell was on the team, right? They may have they may have been working on a game plan which just didn't include Jaheim Bell, right? There's any number of reasons, and they have a vested interest in not revealing that, right? Because if they go, yeah, we Targaryen and just kind of forgot that they were on the team. All right, well, that's a bad thing if you're a coach. Yeah, we didn't have a game plan ready that utilized arguably our best offensive talent. Okay? Like, I want the answer to that, because the answer to that question is very much going to impact the faith that I, as a fan, have in these guys to get the job done.
Is Bell still on the team? Has he transferred yet?
Not yet.
He hasn't transferred
Not
yet? Because in this day and age, that's what you do. I wasn't on the field. My family, my friends, the reporters have all said I should be on the field, which means I need to go somewhere else.
For the record, I would if I was him. You want to know why? Because you are costing me millions of dollars.
Are they though?
Yes.
No, they're not.
Yes.
They are not.
Jaheim Bell.
If you're good,
not, wait,
if you're good, if you're good, you're good. All you got to do is go run really fast and jump really high and look good in shorts and answer your questions correctly, and you're going to be fine.
I spent, in my 15 years doing this, twice I've been unemployed. Twice I've been out of a show. Twice I've been out of a gig. Couldn't get one. Wasn't because I wasn't good enough. It was because my old station manager and my old station screwed me over and were bad. You can ask Mark. We work for the same station. He'll tell you the same war stories I will. And when I was out of a job and I started looking for new jobs, you know what I got told? Yeah, we've only got old tape on you. It's not good enough. We can't give you a show. So I had to go back to step one of this industry and start all over again. You don't get time to shine? Yes, it costs you money. I would not be shocked if Jaheim Bell left the team after this. I really wouldn't. And it would be on nobody but Sat and Shano. That's a fact. Texas says, I don't think Luke Doty would do any better because the play calling stinks. Predictable offense is the problem, from JT and Greer. Texas says, I agree with Lonzo. It would not have mattered if he was on the field. Not with Satterfield calling plays. Sat does not call plays to utilize the strengths of his team. We'll address some of those when we come back and wrap up hour number 2 after this on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Now I just want to go get a media pass so I can ask Shane Beamer who stole the cookie from the cookie jar. And then I will just leave the room. I am just reading.
They lost 4 of their last 5. They will be on the road Friday night against the Grizzlies. World Series Game 4, a historic win for the Astros, evening the series at 2 with a 5-0 win over the
I'm actually a
Phillies.
baseball
First time
announcer.
in their World Series
That's how I
history. Starter
finish
Christian
my
Javier with 6
sentences.
innings, striking out 9, including 5 in a row.
The Shatner School of Sports Reporting.
In the fifth, scoring all 5 of their runs.
I've heard that exists. It's pretty expensive, though.
Moving back to Houston Saturday.
There is a Dan Patrick School of Broadcasting at Full Sail.
Is it really?
Yep.
That's cool.
It's very hard to get into. I've considered, because you can do Full Sail online. I have a couple of times considered seeing if I could get in.
Yes. Did you know that Tron has his master's degree?
Does he really?
Yes.
In what?
From Full Sail.
Really?
Yes. Found that out the other day.
I thought about getting one. I just don't know what it would translate.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/.
by the way, I want to note it. I am not anti-media. I'm just anti-stupid questions being asked over and over again. You know, the person who asked it first, man, they took my question. Come up with another question. I don't think Rob would do that. I think he would ask a different question.
Staples has all your shipping supplies and UPS service in store. And right now, get 25% off UPS Express shipping services. Staples, the best kept secret in shipping. Ends 12/31. Valid only in Staples U.S. stores.
Cam's photography knows wedding season ramps up in a flash. They need to say I do to a studio assistant before clients go full Bridezilla. I'm so sorry, I have to get that different lens. I'll be right back. Indeed can help them hire great people fast. I need Indeed. Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Where can you find gifts for anyone? Holiday flavors for any home? Lowe's actually. Save big on top tool brands like your choice of DeWalt 20-volt max drill kit or
Lonzo was very proud of his plan yesterday.
now $99. All backed by the Lowe's price promise. Plus, outdoor inflatables starting at $22.
It was good.
Check back daily for deals during Black Friday month and start saving now at Lowe's.
By the way, I was giving you credit while you were out of the room saying you wouldn't ask the same question everyone else asked.
No, I wouldn't,
See?
but I understand why people do.
I would think that Rob Brown would be glad that all these other people are wasting their questions because it would make his question stand out when he asks something differently. Which also makes you look good to your bosses. And to the person answering the question because they're like, finally, someone asked me something differently.
Shane at some point is going to be like, I'm so tired of talking about Jaheim Bell. Yeah, I didn't think what I said was that big of a deal. If I was Jaheim Bell, I'll phrase it this way. If Jaheim Bell transfers, I would totally understand. I would not hold it against him at all. If he put his name in the portal right now, I would not hold it against him. I really wouldn't. My dude is going from first round projected draft pick to not that. And he's going that direction quickly. And it's because this offense, for whatever reason, just will not utilize him.
Have any of us seen him practice? I mean, maybe he's not doing that well in practice. I mean, just because you're projected and you're pretty good doesn't mean you're not dogging it. I mean, there may be some other factors in play.
There might be. But when and you know, I guess I could get if Shane was like, yeah, he dogs in practice, but I don't want to put that into the media, right? Like, I don't want to get him.
Well, he's not going to be the guy that's going to do that. He's going to take the heat. I'm talking about Beamer. He's going to take the heat from it, even if he knows that there's a legitimate reason other than what he's saying.
I would say that for the first time since you showed up, little bit of that goodwill that Shane Beamer has probably as much goodwill built up within his fan base towards him as maybe any other college coach does that doesn't have a title right now, right? I'd say he's got as much goodwill built up as pretty much anybody else in his position that doesn't have a championship trophy so far. But that L kind of cut into, not just that L. It wasn't just the L. You're going to lose games. You're a ways off from expecting undefeated seasons. That followed up with, at least what I felt was, disconnecting yourself from the failure of the offense, not just in that game, but all season long, to consistently put up points. Kind of, I think, lost a little bit of that goodwill. It's the first time I've really felt people sounding like they're genuinely disappointed. Now, most of it is absolutely being directed towards Marcus Satterfield. No doubt about that. And Shane is in a tough spot a little bit here. Shane's in a tough spot a little bit here because Marcus Satterfield is a buddy of his, right? It's pardon me. Sat's a buddy of his. They're friends off the field. They are amigos, right? So I get it's a tough spot to the point that, I suspect that if Sat is let go, it's going to be Ray Tanner that does it, not Shane Beamer, right? It'll be the first time Tanner steps in and goes, I'm going to make a personnel decision for you because you won't. But if you were going to disconnect yourself from the offense, it feels to me like there's going to be a point that if there are other issues going on that are preventing you from playing Jaheim Bell more than 14 to 16 snaps a game when he is a projected first rounder, you would put those out there. You would say, yeah, we're just we're not getting the effort we need out of Jaheim Bell in practice. Maybe use that as a motivational tool. He's not doing well in class. He kicked a puppy. Whatever it is, you would say whatever it is that's preventing that from happening. But all we're getting is personnel grouping. Personnel grouping. Texas says a Gamecock season at this point should never include a loss to Mizzou or Vandy. Yeah, I agree. A loss at Vandy this weekend would be devastating. Devastating to Shane Beamer and Marcus Satterfield. Devastating to those guys. All right, let's talk some NFL when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance, who gives you protection on the phone, online, or on the app 24/7 because things happen 24/7. Get a quote at progressive.com. From a World Series record-tying 5 homers in Game 3 to 0 hits at all in Game 4 last night, the Phillies on the wrong side of history this time, losing 5-0 to the Astros. The Fall Classic now 2-2. Bryce Harper says a loss is a loss.
The advantage of good pitching. It happens. It's part of the game, and good pitching gets good hitting any day of the week. So kind of flush that. Like I said, it's pretty possible and do that pretty well.
Good pitching began with Christian Javier, 6 innings, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks. Then 3 relievers finished off the first combined no-hitter in postseason history, the second of any type in the World Series, and third ever in the playoffs. Game 5 still in Philly, 80s through tonight. Justin Verlander and Noah Syndergaard on the mound. 2 days of trading for him. The Dolphins now agreeing reportedly with a 5-year extension with linebacker Bradley Chubb, who will be guaranteed $63 million from 2027
And the Cavaliers on a 6-game win streak after a 114-113 OT win over the Celtics. I'm Andrew Boone.
Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio.
CBS Sports Radio.
From the four corners of the globe, the world's greatest set their sights on one goal. The Breeders' Cup World Championships are coming to iconic Keeneland this November 4th and 5th. Over 2 days and 14 championship races, the pinnacle of international thoroughbred racing will put the most jaw-dropping, heart-pounding spectacle before your very eyes. Coverage begins Friday on USA and continues Saturday on USA and NBC. Visit breederscup.com/2022 to learn more.
Ray Mayotte here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching a kid how to parallel park. Ouch. Turns out place to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little. And headlights. Hit the block by headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job.
Freaking chair.
But then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should
Like being on the world's worst roller coaster.
I've been on them coders before. They're tough. Coders have a tendency to jump the track while you're on.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
And now the sounds of football from Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers. Enjoy the taste of football too. Hand-tossed pies, hoagies, wings, meatballs, hot pretzels, and over 100 beers from around the world. Mellow Mushroom, 1 Augusta Street in Greenville's West End.
Hey, attention P1, it's Matt Madden 9. The all-new Rise Guys P1 Lager is here. We've teamed up with Steelhead Brewery to bring you a new, easy-drinking lager. Ask for it by name, Rise Guys P1 Lager. The best beer on the planet.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. See better and stay safe on the road with our visibility event. Right now, you can earn up to $20 in bonus rewards when you buy a pair of Rain-X Quantum Wiper Blades and Sylvania Silverstar Ultra headlights. Take advantage of the rewards from October 31st until November 13th, in-store or on AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply. Offer available to AutoZone Rewards members.
Now we're on the first break.
Alrighty.
To tackle any mess you might face this holiday, like automatic fabric and road size detection for spills of any size, from cookies and milk on your favorite holiday sweater to the toddler of the house discovering just how fun cranberry sauce can be. Make more magic this holiday season. Let your new appliances handle the mess. Shop Black Friday savings and get up to 30% off, plus instantly save up to $750 on select LG laundry sets at Home Depot. How doers get more done. Offer valid November 2nd through 30th. US only two-store online for details.
Premier source for high school football talk in the Upstate is back this fall. I'm Rob Jones, inviting you to join me here on the Fan Upstate for the Saturday morning scramble. We'll have scores and stories from around the area, and we'll talk to the biggest names involved in the biggest games. It's the Saturday morning scramble from 8 to 10 a.m. each week on the Fan Upstate.
Saturday morning scramble sponsored proudly by Founders Federal Credit Union and your local Ingles Market. Only on the Fan Upstate. Always live from the Free Odyssey app.
Upstate. WORD Spartanburg.
WFBC HD3, the official sports voice of you, the Upstate Fan. CBS Sports Radio. Always live from the Free Odyssey app.
And check this out.
For an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Yeah.
Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Joe said Rob's media class was based on the Lieutenant Daniel Caffey. Did you order the code red? You're damn right I did. Oh, yes. Seriously. That's exactly it. How many times did he ask the question before Jack broke?
Yeah, but there were a bunch of things leading into that. It wasn't the first question and only question asked.
Of course
not.
not.
It was also a movie.
Of course not. It was a movie, but
so you're saying that your school was based on a movie?
It's a pretty good illustration of how that whole thing works. 100%. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Texter says, if we lose to Vandy, it might be time for me to ditch the alma mater and choose a new team because, nah, I ain't doing that. Gamecock fan saying he is jumping off the wagon if they drop one to Vandy. And I got to tell you,
I do believe there's been a Vanderbilt loss in the past, probably multiples.
Oh, there's absolutely a part of me that Lonzo that believes that the stands would be a little bit more empty moving forward. This would be, and I don't think it's over the top to say, arguably the most devastating loss since ? Like, I don't know, a long time.
If you recall, there was at least one season in memory where the Gamecocks didn't win a game. And if they didn't win a game during that season, they would have had to lose to Vanderbilt.
You can't.
Under Lou Holtz, I believe.
Texter said that performance at Mizzou literally took the wins out of the entire fan base's sails. Like, you cannot lose that game. Yeah, that's how I feel. That is spot on how I feel.
But here's the thing. You can lose that game and it still suck, but be okay if there was effort in the loss. And it just didn't look like there was a lot of effort. As I said before, it was a very must champion kind of game. And that's a place you don't want to go back to.
Yep. I think both of us rolled up in here on Monday morning and kind of felt like South Carolina kind of got in their own heads a little bit, right? Read their own press clippings, so to speak. They heard everybody talking about what an incredible direction they were pointed in after wins over Kentucky and A&M and kind of believed the hype. And there is nothing more dangerous than starting to believe your own hype. And I think South Carolina just learned that lesson a little bit. I really do. That's a bad look, dude. It's a bad look. You are not going to win every game. That's just how football works, right? That's why you play the game. But my goodness, you don't go down like that. Texter said, Rob, if Beamer loses to Vanderbilt back-to-back, then the fan base is out. I will not go to another game. Like I said, I would be exactly 0% shocked if South Carolina drops the ball to Vandy if we don't see quite a bit of aluminum seating available for the rest of the year.
What is all this Vandy loss talk? You have a bad game and suddenly you're going to lose to Vandy? Stop it.
Again, it's if, right? Like, it's if that happens. Not that it will. It's if that happens. I'm not projecting it to happen. I don't think that it'll happen. They ought to win this game. And frankly, ought to win this game pretty comfortably. But if. Texas says Gamecocks can't take the next step, losing games to Mizzou or Vandy, no matter the coach or year. No, that's spot on. That's spot on. You cannot turn the corner. You cannot step through the door if you refuse to pick your feet up off the ground. And that's what losing to Mizzou was in that spot, right? Now, the optimist view is, and I think fairly, the optimist view is Mizzou gave Georgia a fight too, right? Mizzou took Georgia to the line. Right. But that was the best Mizzou had. That was the best Mizzou had, and they were in your house. That was your yard. That was your yard. That's a turn-the-corner game. You got to go win that game by 2 touchdowns and show it ain't just the big ones we get up for. But you didn't. You didn't. Texter says, but Rob, they got them those really cool light things down there in that Willie B place. The Clemson fans are on you now. They got them really cool light things down there in that Willie B place.
They're just glad you stopped talking about DJ. That's all. He's done. Let's get back in now.
Texas says, Vanderbilt football, LOL. It just means more. No, these are the types of games that Vandy lives and die by, right? These are the type of games that Vandy hangs their head on. They know they're not going to compete with Georgia or Bama or LSU. Hell, they're not going to compete with Auburn or LSU at this point. Where does Vandy hang its hat? Beating Kentucky, beating Mizzou, beating South Carolina, beating the Mississippi schools. Maybe now beating A&M. These are the games that Vandy hangs their hat on. These are the games that Vanderbilt says, we're going to go get this one, right? We know what we can do here. Let's go get this one. I'm going to tell you right now, the Gamecocks are absolutely going to catch Vandy's best. Absolutely going to catch Vandy's best, without a doubt. Is it good enough? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And you don't even have to. This is going to be, to me, Zoe, the most blue-collar week of South Carolina-based college football. Neither one of these teams should be out there trying to be fancy on Saturday. Neither one of these teams should be trying to be fancy. Run the ball down their throat, overpower them, dominate them, and win the damn game. And that's it. That is it.
Except Clemson needs to do it convincingly.
I don't think so. Do you think they need a convincing win in order to maintain their spot in the playoffs?
I'm still laughing over something. I saw CFP means Clemson football playoff, which is hilarious. People making fun of how Clemson's in there at 4 and they shouldn't be. Yeah, I think they have to be convincing. Are they going to lose? Are they going to drop? They could if TCU comes out and just kills it.
That honestly would be my biggest concern is if TCU starts putting on a show,
or if Michigan does. I mean, because either one of those teams, they're both undefeated and can jump Clemson at any time.
There's a lot of folks really mad that Michigan is behind Clemson,
including me, and that hurts.
TCU's got West Virginia, Texas Tech, Texas, Baylor, and Iowa State. Here's the good news, bad news situation for Clemson. The good news is TCU doesn't have anybody left on their schedule that jumps off the page at you. There's nobody left on the schedule for TCU that you go, okay, if they win that game, they're going to take a big leap. There is a reason that TCU got put behind Clemson, Michigan, and Alabama. It is twofold. Number one, they are not a marquee university. They're not. If you flip the records of Texas and TCU, Texas is where Clemson is right now. Promise you. Because it's a marquee university, right? It's a top tier program that draws eyes. TCU ain't. Bama will put more eyeballs on the screen than TCU will. That's just a fact. So they put TCU in a spot and went, if you win out, you are in a spot where you could be ranked ahead of a one-loss Power 5 team. Except the SEC, right? The SEC gets bonus points, and you can look at it right now and see that that is the case. That's why Bama is where they are. They said you're behind Bama as a one-loss team, but if Michigan or Ohio State lose, maybe you could be ahead of them. If Clemson loses, you'll be ahead of them. But it's up to everybody else where you end up. Clemson got a little bit of a favorite bump. Why? Because they are a marquee brand. Because they are a national show that is going to put eyes on the TV, even if it's to watch them lose. That's why, that's part of the reason Clemson jumped Michigan. Because Clemson has been in the national eye for the past 8 years. A return for the Tigers is news. I think the other aspect of it is, and it did kind of shock me, Michigan was behind Clemson. I'm not going to lie about that. Not because I'm like, oh, Clemson is not as good as Michigan. Although I don't think you are. All due respect. The other angle is, how pretty does Michigan-Ohio State look if that is a 2-3 matchup or a 3-4 matchup, as opposed to, granted, it's not a massive difference from being a 3-5 matchup with a playoff ticket on the line. Sorry, a 2-5 matchup with a playoff ticket on the line.
Last year, it was a matter of you win this, you're in the playoffs between Michigan and Ohio State, and Michigan won. It's going to be the same thing this year.
I'll say it'll probably be that way this year
unless
too.
there's some sort of slip up between now and that game. That's what it's going to be. And that is how a rivalry game should be. Because not only did you send your rival home, but you sent them all the way home. And it's a horrible feeling being on the end of getting sent home, as Ohio State did last year. I cannot wait to return the favor this year.
Yeah, I mean that's the best, right? That feeling is the best. To end your rival season is the best. Anyway, texter said TCU always gives one up late in the season, and a different texter says TCU has been here before and choked. It'll happen again.
You know, that used to be the case for Clemson, and then they figured it out.
Yeah.
You know, once you figure it out, you figure it out. Clemson always seems to lose that one game, and now they don't. Well, last year aside, they haven't done it this year. They've been close, but they didn't.
They got Texas Tech this weekend. Texas. They got Texas Tech, then they got Texas. Then they got Baylor. And then Iowa State, don't you know? I could see TCU dropping one to Texas at Texas. Why am I saying it like that?
I don't know.
I'm not doing it on purpose.
It's finally happening. It's finally happening.
TCU at Texas. Texas. It's just Texas. Texas.
But
Texas.
That's how people in Texas say Texas.
Tejas.
All right, some people in Texas say Texas.
Texas said, is Clemson really a national brand? I personally don't think so. Regionally, maybe.
Yeah, they're not. They're a regional brand. People around here get really upset about it, but they're not. I think probably most people are shocked. Is like, how are they ahead of this team? How are they ahead of that team?
I'll tell you why they are. Here's why they are. You know why? Because outside of this region, people really don't like Dabo Swinney.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's a national brand.
Lonzo, how many fights you tuned into just to watch a dude get knocked out?
Well, every time John Jones fights.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It's that. That's what it is. Clemson is not a national brand in that if you travel to Iowa, you're going to see that tiger paw, that half-cocked tiger paw walking around, right? They are national brand that if you go anywhere else in the Southeastern Conference region, you are going to see people going, I think Dabo's a hoke, and I'm here to watch him lose. But that's the same with Alabama, dude. It's the same with Bama. Anywhere outside of Alabama, there are Bama fans, sure, but because they're bandwagoners. But you're also going to find people that are going to watch Bama games just to watch Nick Saban lose.
See, I think if you go somewhere, north, south, east, or west, and you're in the downtown somewhere and you ask, do the man on the street and just ask who's the best team in college football right now. And if they're not a college football fan, they're probably going to say Alabama because they always seem to win. And whether you are a fan of it or not, you know that they're always up there. You're not going to hear that about Clemson. They're on their way to being there. They're still not there. You got to do it. I think you got to do it for at least a decade.
I don't think you're wrong. That's why I said I'm not putting Clemson on the shelf with Bama, right?
But you kind of are. I mean, there are a couple of blue blood teams that are always going to be blue blood teams, and Clemson's not there yet.
I don't know that I agree with also either. Remember, Bama was a dumpster fire before Nick Saban got there, right?
How many years has he been there?
I mean, a lot.
Yeah. I mean, when you get into decades, I think has it been more than it's at least one decade? Has it been two?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Not two, but working on it. I was at Saban. Saban played FSU in Jacksonville. My first year, was it first year in radio? Around there, and I covered that game. And that was a very, very, very long time ago. Very long time ago. Is Clemson dynastic? I don't know. I think yes. I think the answer is yes, but I also know it's subjective and a lot of people disagree. Again, Clemson, by way of Dabo being Dabo, Clemson has been built into a brand nationally, but it is a brand that people outside of the region tune in to watch them suffer, not succeed. Bama's that way too. You are not on par with Alabama. I'm not arguing you are. But you're pretty much on par with everybody else, right? You're pretty much on. Is Georgia more of a national brand than Clemson?
Why are you bringing up SEC? Michigan's more of a national brand than Clemson. Ohio State, I mean, Texas still is more of a national brand.
I disagree with Texas.
Yeah, they are. Because you're only looking at it from a college football standpoint. I'm looking at it from knowledge from everybody. People who are not fans or casual fans of it will know this is one of the teams every year because they see them so much. And Clemson is just not there yet. It's not a crack on Clemson. They're on their way. Whether I like that or not, they're on their way. They've won a couple of national championships. They've been in the playoffs just about every year, but they're still not there yet.
Texter says, whenever I listen to the national radio, they talk about Clemson for 30 seconds and they move on to better teams. Yeah, no, this year they absolutely do. Because nobody outside of this region, and frankly, mostly within this region, nobody thinks Clemson's on par with Alabama. Nobody thinks Clemson's on par with Georgia or Tennessee or Ohio State this year. But
I would put Michigan in there and maybe even TCU.
Maybe Michigan, maybe TCU. Nobody thinks that Clemson is a national championship winner this year. Playoff contender? Absolutely. Winner of the title? Going back-to-back against those teams? Probably not.
You know, Rob.
That's why we play the game, but probably not.
They would be if Cabe was starter.
And we will use that as a perfect jumping-off spot to take a break. Send all complaint tweets to @LonzoOnWord. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, I have a golf story, but we're doing really well with college football. Do I stick here? Or do I scrap the outline? What do you guys, I'll tell you what, text me what you want to listen to. 71307, start your text with fam. Text me your thoughts. Whatever you guys text about, I'll address when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Stay right here, listeners. Got to take a break.
preseason, and you'll hear all the action here on the Fan Upstate. Pregame begins at 6:30 p.m. on 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 in Spartanburg, and online at Odyssey.com and the Odyssey app. Search the Fan Upstate. I just don't think he's going to be.
It's Thursday. That's right. That's right. I did forget this time. That's on me.
Welcome into the Fight Club, where they try to make us stay in the green room, and we come at them like a Logan Paul loaded punch. And we just do that thing anyway. And probably
I felt bad for a second. I'm like, oh, crap, it's Thursday. I forgot. I even put it in the promo and everything. And then you opened up with a Logan Paul reference.
Oh, we ain't done talking Logan Paul. It's going to be all Logan Paul all the time for the next 10 minutes. Just because we were forgotten. And I'm saying we, collectively we, because I'm talking about me and the people who demand this segment happen every week at the same time.
Oh,
On the same day at the same time. Okay. All right. Yeah, he's going to remember about the carbonated beverage. Anyway. All right. If it happens, and there is a chance because of real world problems, there was a chance it could be canceled and still could be, but so far it's still on. WWE Crown Jewel is this Saturday at noon. And it's been in the news about some problems in that area, about military threats and some things like that may cause it to not happen. But since we're at Thursday and it hasn't been canceled yet, I'm believing it's probably going to happen. So we should break this thing down because it's a pretty stacked card, which it usually is. And the thing is with Crown Jewel, rarely is it story oriented going into it, but I think they're getting better at it as far as building some stories before they go over there. Before it was like a one-off thing.
Yeah, but so random. They're just like, and these two guys are going to fight. Why? Because the Saudi prince wants to see it.
Well, it's not as random this year as it has been, is what I'm saying, is they've taken a little more time to build some things. I'm going to call that the Triple H influence just because we give him credit for everything. Why not give him credit for this too? All right, let's break down these matches. And it's a pretty good card. And then I have a question about the card afterwards, starting with the Battle of the Monsters, Braun Strowman versus Omos. Has there been, we just talked about the buildup. Has there been enough of a buildup on this?
I literally could not care less.
Oh, I want to see this. I like seeing Braun Strowman looking up at Omos. And I want to see, Omos hasn't wrestled anyone wrestled. He's just been doing squash matches for a while now.
They've tried to cover him. They've tried to cover it up because, hey, man, he's 7 feet tall and you can't teach that. That's great. And I'm not disagreeing. It's cool to have big dudes throwing big dudes around, but the dude can't wrestle. I couldn't care less.
So it seems to me, and I hope I'm wrong, it's just like you're being negative because we're talking WWE. I hope that's not why. Because you're negative already. And you know,
well, pull a different match.
All right. So I'm going to, but we are in the era now where the big man doesn't have to be a big man. That's why I'm looking forward to this match. Strowman can actually do some things that he can, because he's one of those big guys who's been, you're got to be the monster. You got to be the big guy. You can't move like that. You can't do the things that you can do. He's going to be able to do that. And I think it's going to be more of a showcase of what Strowman is than it is what Omos is. Omos is going to be large and lumbering. We know that. But hopefully Strowman will make it look like Omos is wrestling a luchador. That's what I want to see. And I think that could be exciting.
Hopefully.
Could be.
Hopefully it would be the first time we saw that out of Omos, though. So there's that.
All right. And the next match that Rob's going to be completely thrilled about, it is a steel cage match between Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross with Scarlett. By the way, who wins between Omos and
Braun?
You going Braun?
Yeah.
Okay, me too.
Yeah, easy. And anytime they hype a matchup as so-and-so is so much bigger than so-and-so, that guy loses. The big guy loses. That's just how these go. Cage match. First off, what are y'all doing to Drew? Drew was organically super hot and that's just been killed off, which I don't get. But I think the match could be exceptional. Karrion Kross was never a guy I disliked. It's just when he brought him up to the main roster under Vince, it was like, why would you get rid of a gimmick that worked in order to make him a BDSM gimp for no reason at all? This is dumb, right? Don't Google that on your work computer. I didn't understand it. This iteration of it is a little more interesting, right? Like this one is a little bit better. Having Scarlett along with him as a foil has been really, really good. Locking her out of a steel cage, I think, is a great idea because these are two dudes that are going to beat the hell out of each other. So I think this one could be really, really entertaining. But I think McIntyre's got to win. I'm going to go Drew. I would not be shocked to see a bit of a turn here out of Drew, like towards the relentless psycho killer route that he kind of had when he first showed back up.
All right. So if you are someone who has blamed Vince McMahon for the ills of WWE for a really long time, then you hope Drew McIntyre gets beat down, because Drew McIntyre was another one of those handpicked guys by McMahon, who he said he will be the man. And but
then he fired him.
Yeah. And then he brought him back and made him into the man. For a little bit, he was the guy. I'm going to go with Karrion Kross here, and I don't think we've seen enough of Karrion Kross. I want to see more, and I want to see him go up against something. He doesn't need a belt yet, but I want to see him go up against someone better. I know how that sounds, but McIntyre, even at his heights, always seemed mid to me. All right. The next match is Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. And this is one of the ones that Rob is talking about. This is all about the princes going, we want to see this guy versus this guy. And anytime Brock is back in the cowboy hat, it's fun. There's no build up, not a whole lot of talk here. I did like Hunter coming out on Monday night and going, if this happens again, the match is off. I thought that was pretty good. I get worried when he comes out now because he gets heated and you know about his heart and know he almost died. And it's like, dude, send somebody else. Send Jamie Noble out there. He'll take care of it because that's what he does. Don't go out there yourself. Hey,
send Fit Finlay out there.
Yeah. Well, when Jamie Noble shows up, things are a mess, and he's going to take care of it. Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. I really could care less about this match. But Brock has been losing an awful lot lately, and maybe they build something up for WrestleMania between these guys or something. I'm gonna go with Lesnar to win this match.
I don't know, to tell you the truth. That was my initial lean, was Lesnar, but they've really done a lot with Bobby Lashley over the last couple of years. And I wonder if that's building something. That being said, Brock being specifically asked to show up by the Saudi prince leads me to believe they go ahead and put him over while they can.
All right, a couple more matches to get to. 6-man tag team match between the OC and Judgment Day. I want to point this out. Dominic Mysterio is the star of the Judgment Day, without a doubt. He gets the most heat. He gets the most attention. He is the star. This was the best move for him going forward. Because of this, he's going to stay in wrestling for a little while, as long as the Judgment Day exists. He stayed with his dad. He was always in his dad's shadow. Him going the Eddie Guerrero route is an awesome move for him. His frog splashes are actually pretty good. He looks better doing Guerrero moves than he did doing Mysterio moves. So the Judgment Day has got the better of the OC for a while. Here's what I look to happen. A female is going to come out and help them against Rhea. The question is, who's it going to be? I'm going to predict, it's a weird prediction. We haven't seen her in a while. I'm going to predict it's going to be Charlotte, and the OC wins.
Funny enough, that's exactly what I was going to say, right? Like, you've got to have, and when Charlotte comes back, I think it's fine not to throw her directly into the main event since she's only ever been in the main event. I think giving her a bit of a run as a face and helping them out kind of puts her into the mid. It's one of the things. I think you need a better mid card in the women's division to kind of elevate the top instead of having the same 3 people kind of cycle it over and over. So I think that'd be a good addition for her.
All right. So who you got winning?
I don't know. This one is probably the most up in the air one of them all. But because we're projecting somebody to come back, I'm gonna go with I'll go with the OC.
All right. 3 more matches. Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship match between the Usos and the Brawling Brutes. Is Jay going to feel Usi enough to win this match? Yeah, the Usos are not going to. I hate this, but they're going to end up beating the New Day's record, and I don't want them to.
I like the Usos. I think they're idiots away from the ring.
Yes.
And that's a massive problem for sure. But I like the Usos, and I got no problem if they are the ones that end up beating the streak. But I think it kind of feels to me like the beginning of the end or the beginning of the ending story of the bloodline. And this is a really good opportunity to kind of start that, even if it's just from the standpoint of kind of sowing the seeds of discontent between Roman and the brothers, right? Like, this is a really good opportunity for them to start working on whatever angle Sami Zayn is ultimately going to play in this, and whatever angle the brothers are going to have in this, whether they decide to split them up or not. That being said, the Usos are going to win the match.
All right. And last women's standing match for the Raw Women's Championship, Bianca Belair versus Bayley. I'm getting tired of this already. I really am. Bianca versus Bayley. Is there no one else to go up against Bianca? And at the same time, I think Bianca's had a good run. I picked Bayley the last couple of times to win against Bianca, and she hasn't. I'm going to do it one more time. I think Bayley gets the title this time.
I think she does too. And I think it's I don't know what the plan was with the changing of the tag team belts over the week before the show. That was kind of out of left field for me. But if there's no payoff to this, what's the point, right? Like, I like Bayley. I even like Karen Bayley. I enjoy Karen Bayley. But at some point, if she doesn't ever win, like, what's the point?
Agreed. All right. And finally, in the main event for the WWE Universal Championship, a guy who's only had 2 matches is going up against Rob's tribal chief, Roman Reigns. And that would be the guy with pins in his hands, or his hand, Logan Paul. And it's just been confirmed that Jake Paul will also be in attendance.
Oh, good.
Does this affect what you think is going to happen in this match?
Nah.
Would the world turn upside down if Roman Reigns lost to Logan Paul?
No, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. I've got I tell wrestling people, I'm like, don't work yourself into a shoot, brother, by fantasy booking in your head what you think should happen, but I've already done it. Bray has been advertised as there.
Yes.
Bray v. Roman down the line, I think feels inevitable. So I think you have Bray interrupt. I think you have Theory cash in. I think you have Theory get pinned by Logan. Logan wins the belts. Heyman comes out Monday and makes the argument that, whoa, wait a minute. There's some ridiculous reason that one of those belts has to go back to Roman. It's a way to split it up. You put Logan Paul over as a champ, which is, I mean, at some point you're going to have to, if you want to keep utilizing him. Or Theory ends up winning by pinning Logan Paul. Paul gets to come out and go, wait a minute. I prepared to fight Roman, not 2 people. And Paul can come out on Monday and go, the briefcase is good for a championship, not multiple championships. You have to send the SmackDown championship back to Roman. Roman keeps the belt. Austin's got to cash in. And now Logan Paul v. Austin Theory is, I guess, an entertaining feud on the other side of it.
I hope everything you just said happens in some way. I just think that would be kind of cool because we've seen him come out and try to use the briefcase a bunch of times.
Him getting consistently knocked out every time he does is my favorite gimmick going right now.
All right, 2 more things. Jeff Jarrett is now All Elite. Did you see that coming, and do you care?
Did I see it coming? Yes, only because they had announced earlier in the day that he had signed a contract. He's going to be doing some kind of talent relations gig for them, which I think is good. All right. I think it is wise of Tony Khan right now to be surrounding himself by folks who have been in the business for a very long time to help him kind of steer what has been an otherwise rudderless AEW ship for the past few weeks. But also, he looked good. Like Jeff Jarrett looked in shape.
He did. If you didn't look at his face, I mean, you can tell how old he is now. And still, even then, it's not bad. But I mean, just looking at his arms and everything, for an older guy, you're thinking, okay, you're going to see a lot of flab and stuff, and you don't. He did look good. I want to know what kind of dust they put in that guitar, though. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it did kind of explode in a hilarious fashion.
Yeah, which is an AEW thing. Also, one last thing, because we got to go to break. I got to mention this. Chris Jericho threatened to whip Lamar Jackson's butt.
By the way, noted not a real man Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, because why would he be at a wrestling event?
Noted
Men
not
don't go to
a
those.
real man Lamar Jackson at AEW, along with like half the Ravens roster. Also a bunch of definitely not real men.
Lamar did not see that coming, though, because he had to put his hand over his head. Like, I mean,
I loved it.
And Jericho's so good at that, just turn around and say,
I loved it.
he's going to whip his butt. That was great. It really was. I think Jericho could take Lamar, by the way.
No chance.
It's because of experience.
No chance. Fake fighting ain't real fighting. And that's as a wrestling fan. All right. It is what it is. Let us take a break, shall we? We come back. We put a bow on this Thursday morning show and get you all set up for the football weekend ahead, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rob Brown. He is the great one, Lonzo. You are listening to the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Trey what?
Westerberg? It could be Westerberg, but I think he said Worcester.
I heard Worcester.
Josh, I'm going to have to go with the sweet potato casserole.
What's your favorite dish on Turkey Day? Turkey.
He's talking about
sides.
He's talking about sides.
Talking about sides.
I mean, the turkey's a given.
Green bean casserole with cheese melted up top.
Didn't take you as a green bean casserole guy. You can't go wrong with green bean casserole. Well, you can if it's undercooked. If you're using fresh green beans and you undercook it and they're too crunchy.
Broccoli and cheese casserole beats great. I'm down for broccoli and cheese.
Yeah, I like that also.
One of my fat guy foods I'm working on right now is there is a company that makes a less than 300 calorie bag of frozen broccoli covered in vegan cheese. And I know I don't like it. I'm not a vegan, but it tastes like cheddar cheese. And it's like 280 calories for a good size helping of it.
What the heck is vegan cheese?
I don't know, and I don't ask questions.
personalized holiday cards and invites. And now save 40%.
If you don't like meat and dairy products, stop trying to make things that taste like them. I got you, Josh.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe. Fixing the seats so every fan can enjoy every game. And Allie, who keeps your stadium running smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last play.
I'm not a cranberry sauce guy.
Me either. My wife really likes it, though. So, I mean, she's the only one who eats it. So, I mean, if you're the only one who likes something, you got plenty of it for yourself. That's a bonus. I don't believe, and maybe I have, I don't think I've had fresh cranberry sauce. You know, not the stuff out of the can, but someone bought cranberries and made sauce out of it. How do you make sauce out of cranberries? You make it like gravy?
I don't know.
Do you just squish it? I mean, I think it's a legitimate question.
Squish a bunch of cranberries.
Yeah.
So as the heel, the NHL has teamed up with scratch that. Never mind. I misread it. But I do want to buy. You've never seen Mighty Ducks. Never mind.
Yes, I have.
You have?
I watched. I'd seen bits and pieces, and you asked me to watch the first one, and I did.
About it?
We did talk about it. We absolutely talked about it the next day. It's been a while, though. So, yeah.
It's been a while.
From the Ingles Market Studio,
All right, wrapping up the show. I'm gonna throw this in here. I wasn't going to, but I will. Bubba Watson is a golfer from my neck of the woods down on the Florida Panhandle, and he had some comments about the critics of the LIV Tour on which he plays now. Right, left the PGA to go play for the LIV Tour. He said, "Quote: It makes me laugh because on the PGA Tour, I got paid behind closed doors to show up at tournaments, many tournaments. And if Bubba Watson's not the best, that means the best were getting paid better than me and more than me. And so it's guaranteed money. I miss the cut. I still make money. I make the cut. I make extra money." End quote. And the discussion is because a lot of critics have pointed out that the LIV Tour hands out like millions of dollars for golfers just to show up, right? So are you going to get the best golf out of these guys when they've already been paid just to be there? Bubba's like, yeah, that already happened on the tour, right? You are missing the point entirely, my dude. Nobody's upset that you're getting guaranteed. Some of the golfers are, right? Like Tiger came out, but you know, Tiger's a big PGA Tour dude. That's why he's working so hard hand in hand with the PGA Tour to try to reinvigorate its image. Nobody is upset that you're getting paid guaranteed money, Bubba. It's where the money's coming from that everybody has a problem with, right? It's that the money is coming from what a lot of people consider effectively blood money from the Saudi princes. It's from the people who hacked up a journalist because they didn't like what he wrote about them. And that's the money that's coming in. Nobody's mad that you're getting paid. Very rarely are sports fans unhappy that an athlete is getting paid. They're just mad about where the money is coming from. You have missed the point entirely, my guy.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All right, time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending. He will tell us why it is trending. And the first thing that's trending is Cam Akers.
They are really doing their best to move Cam Akers. Did he get cut?
No, he did not get cut. He did not get traded. What he is doing, and the reason why he's trending, is he's practicing today. And he put out a tweet that said, "I miss football."
Listen, I don't know what's going on with Cam Akers. I don't know what went wrong with Cam Akers. Cam Akers had an exceptional year last year. Somebody in my fantasy league traded up to get Cam Akers. And then after week 1, Cam Akers just went full MIA from the Rams game plan. Remember, one of the offers that was reportedly sent by LA to Carolina for Brian Burns was 2 firsts and Cam Akers. They also offered Cam Akers for Christian McCaffrey, which was also shot down. Was this the wake-up call Cam Akers needed? Are we going to see that guy back? I don't know. It's a weird situation.
All right. The next thing that's trending, and it's the most important thing trending today, Powerball is trending.
Did anybody win yet? Do we know? Nobody's won, so we're going to be well north of a bill.
$1.5 billion. A billion. I don't recall it ever being this high before.
I don't know if it's a record or not. I will tell you that the lady friend and I don't buy lottery tickets till the bee gets stuck on it. When the bee gets stuck on it, we buy. I don't know why, right? Like, for me, like, what would be the difference in winning a $50 million prize or a $1.5 billion prize?
Well,
at the end of the day,
yeah.
I'm never working again.
There would be a difference, but I mean, you're not going to be able to figure it out.
Right. I'm still going to have more. The interest you would make on half of your money being invested would be like 1,000 times my salary every day. Like it would be dumb.
So you're not going to work till you see the money in the bank and you have the bank statement, you know it's in there, so you know you got that money, and then come to work and say all the things that you've always wanted to say.
I would say this. I can say honestly, I think I would still work just because I'd be bored.
Wonder how much it costs to buy an hour on this station. Just 1 hour for one day.
Right.
Just 1 hour for one day.
I would still work because I would get bored if I don't. But I would very much attack it differently, right? It's not that it would change who I am on air. I am who I am. Whether I get money or not, I'm going to be the same dude. I would tell you that I'd have about 6 times as many vacation days, right? Like I'd be out on vacation a lot more. Don't worry, boss. I'll pay for my own fill-in co-host. I'm going to Aruba. Sorry, I'm buying Aruba.
Yeah, by the way, I would not be the same guy.
Oh, I would.
You know what I'd be? I'd be rich.
I'd be the same dude with a really nice car.
Yeah, but I don't know what rich is like. I'm willing to experience it if I can.
I do. It's pretty dope.
1%er.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us today. Jim Rome's up next in the jungle. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel take you offsides at 3. Appreciate you guys listening. Hope you enjoyed the show half as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. And we will see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching.